guy checks all the boxes.
To the wrap-up presented by ALLSTATE. I'm your host, Skubie Mageza, here with A.J. McCarron, three-time national champion, former Crimson Tide quarterback, and right now things are going down with the CFP ranked teams. We had Clemson go down earlier today. We had Tennessee go down, and right now Alabama is in overtime versus LSU. Now, if we had gotten on air a little bit earlier, y'all would have heard AJ going crazy here in the studio. So we're going to take a live look into this game. We're in overtime, second and goal. We're tied at 24. AJ, what are you seeing here?
Well, it looks like cover zero right here. I mean, God,
Alabama got the ball first in overtime. It's been a rough day for Bryce Young when you talk about throwing the ball. And they're in this situation where they could have had a touchdown had he nailed a couple passes before overtime.
Yeah, listen, LSU's done a good job of getting pressure on him, muddying up the throwing alleys for him, and I think the biggest thing is really getting hands in his face, and his feet haven't been settled all night. He's kind of had a little bit of happy feet.
Yeah, let's go! Let's go! When I tell y'all, this is what I've been hearing for the last 35 minutes. I've had to apologize to our producers and director because there has been screaming and yelling in the studio. What do they run over here, AJ? What do you see?
Little jet motion and then just a little zone read towards the jet motion side off to the left. Good push by the O-line. Williams made a guy miss, and we get in for 6. This is going to be big right here. Got to make every kick. Oh, all right.
You almost thought he was going to miss the one that would have brought them over to overtime. But there you have it. It is 31-24. Alabama takes a 7-point lead. Honestly, this is the game that I was hoping we would have saw with Georgia versus Tennessee. But this is the classic that we're getting now with LSU. But getting this opportunity to cement his legacy, Bryce Young, you talked about Alabama quarterbacks doing something against LSU. Tell me the significance of that.
Yeah, listen, it's we've had multiple drives, right, that have been big in the last minute or 2 minutes of the game versus LSU in Death Valley. I believe it started with myself. We had a huge one. The offense was struggling, couldn't really get anything going in the passing game all night, and then Blake Sims, after me, after I graduated, had one as well. So you have a little bit of history there with quarterbacks creating some big-time drives late against LSU in Death Valley. And we needed one tonight. They went down, kicked a field goal to tie it up, send it into overtime, and now we have the lead in overtime. We need our defense to step up. Let's go.
We will be talking about this game going all the way through because it is significant for the CFP, but we also had another significant result. The Clemson Tigers go down against Notre Dame, and this was not pretty. 35-14, and this was one of their first true road games. When you talk about an opponent like Notre Dame, who has been on the upward trend of improving. And hold on, we're gonna do a live look into the LSU-Alabama game. We have an update. This is just great. Let's take a look. LSU scored already. AJ, wow.
Dude, they're going for 2.
No way. Timeout Alabama.
I think Kelly charged down too to call timeout on this side.
Wow.
Another look at this touchdown run.
Okay, I was hoping we could get another look at this replay. LSU got the ball and answered immediately. AJ, you talked about the defense needing to step up. Jaden Daniels has been using his legs really impressive lately. And what a weapon it's been.
I mean, all night we haven't had an answer, and I don't understand it from a defensive standpoint, because this is what he's done all year. He's been making plays with his legs, right? I mean, especially the last couple weeks. So I don't understand it. We knew zone read was a big deal for them.
17 carries, 70 yards as of now for Jaden Daniels. He hasn't done much through the year, about 182 yards passing, but no turnovers has been the theme for him going forward. And LSU deciding to go for 2 here. What do you think about that call? Would you take the one?
Listen, if you're Brian Kelly, right? You're at home. You just scored on the first play of your possession. Like, you have all the momentum. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's a good call on his part. Use that energy, use that momentum that you have, and take the chance. Like, I mean, you really weren't supposed to win this game, right? Like, according to the experts and everything. So, God.
Let's take a look.
Daniels for the win.
Oh!
He's wide open, dude.
What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Brian Kelly, first year with the Tigers, beats the Crimson Tide with Jaden Daniels having a day. My God.
He was playing high school football a year ago. Taylor with a touchdown and the clinching 2-point conversion and a field rush for the ages.
Going for 2. I literally have goosebumps right now. I can't I can't fake this.
For a player safety standpoint, that's going to be so dangerous. They think Tennessee was bad. LSU fans, especially night game.
Okay, immediate reaction right now. Such a crushing loss. Well,
yeah, it knocks you out.
They're out now.
It knocks you out.
And LSU still has a chance. Like, LSU has an opportunity right now to be the first 2-loss team to make the CFP, because let's say they win the SEC championship, there's no way you can't keep them out.
Yeah, I don't see them beating Georgia, but yeah, I mean, if they win the SEC championship, you never know. I'll tell you, this team just they can't seem to get out of their own way for whatever reason. And Coach Saban said it earlier in the year after the Tennessee game a couple weeks ago, where they had 17 penalties for 130 yards or something like that. And people were questioning him and asking him about the team being, undisciplined. And the fact that you never see a Coach Saban team be that undisciplined, right? So, and he kind of gave an answer that was a little shocking to me, the fact that he said he didn't know what to do or how to fix the problem, which you never hear Coach Saban say that. So that was a little shocking to me. And it's just the fact, I mean, they had multiple false starts tonight that killed drives. They were in 3rd and long situations, backed up in their own territory, especially in the first half. So it's tough, man.
Crushing. And this is a true fan here. And to your comment about penalties, 9 penalties for 92 yards for the Crimson Tide in the 1-point loss to to the LSU Tigers. Not a great performance by them, but now we have to keep this show moving on. So let's check out Unbeatable Performances from today, brought to you by Xfinity. And we're starting with Bo Nix. He threw for 274 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, along with 16 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns. And we can't forget about this play here. He also caught one as well. The 8th-ranked Ducks get the 49-10 win over Colorado and score 40-plus points for the 8th straight game. That is the longest streak in the country after Ohio State scored under that today. And then we got Stetson Bennett next. He threw for 257, 2 passing touchdowns, and he ran for 1. Georgia gets a 27-13 win over first-ranked Tennessee. But
beat
as
down.
you will find out later on in the show, they should have been ranked first all along, as my man here, AJ, will tell you. And then we got Drake May. Drake May is the first freshman in FBS history to record 300 passing yards through his team's first 9 games of a season. 30 passing touchdowns. I'm reading all off right now. But he gets 293 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Those are our unbeatable performances on the day.
The one with Drake, the thing with him is the fact that his team's not as talented as, every other team in the country. And for him to be such a young guy, to come in his first year and take care of the ball the way I think coming into this game, he was 29 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on the year. That's staggering. Like, he's playing at a very high level right now. He's a fun quarterback to watch. You just want to see him sustain that for years to come.
Yeah, definitely. And it was almost like them and Clemson were on a colliding course for the ACC championship now. And Clemson was supposed to run away with this, but as we mentioned at the top of the show, they lost and they got whooped today. So that top 25 is getting more and more interesting. So take a look at this because I think it's interesting.
Every week matters.
One of the big questions for the committee is the one-loss team.
It's going to be one big funnel to the 4.
In college football, the goal isn't just to have a number next to your name. You do everything you can to shrink that digit to as small as it can be.
Stetson Bennett keeping the play alive.
The tinier that number becomes, so does the distance between a team and its gridiron glory.
I'm in love with the sweet, sweet, sweet sunshine.
Every play, every yard, every victory matters.
And it's time for me to take what's mine. Yeah, yeah.
He got it. The misery is over on Rocky Top.
It's time.
It is addition with the ultimate goal of subtraction. From 25 to 1.
I'm in love with that sweet, sweet, sweet sunshine.
Jalen to Imola. Wow.
Welcome to the latest solution in college football's total sum game. Welcome to the Top 25 Rankings.
It's time.
All right, let's take a look at the All-State Playoff Predictor, and we're only a month away from Conference Championship Weekend. Think you know who will be the last 4 standing? See for yourself. This was before the games were played today, obviously, and that the 4th and 5th team, I'm sure that will be changing. Bama's 50% is going to go down, and surely Clemson's 52% is going to be going down. So let's talk about Ohio State and how concerning their offense has been, AJ, because yet another slow start for OSU. CJ Stroud, one of the worst passing games in his entire career, but we also know that the weather played a factor in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the weather was huge. The thing that scares me about Ohio State, and what we talked about earlier, was a lot of their passing game and their passing concepts seem to be shots, right? And they got to find a way. They've struggled the past couple weeks running the football. They ran the ball better today. Mayan Williams had 26 carries for 111 yards, 2 touchdowns, but they still have to find a way to get the ball out quick. I feel like they have CJ holding the ball for way too long because they're used to, taking these big shots and it working out for them, but they're not sustaining drives long enough. And I want to see that from their offense a little bit more, but I mean, they struggled bad today. Northwestern was in the ball game pretty much the whole entire game, and I'm just worried about. It makes you think, who have they actually played this year, and how good is Ohio State?
And that's what makes that matchup against Michigan. It's going to make it so much more interesting. CJ Stroud entering today, he only had 24 yards rushing in his career. He finished with 79 yards rushing, more than he had passing.
Right.
So let's take a look at their resume because you talked about where they really played. And this is kind of what we have to think about Ohio State. I mean, does this run continue going forward?
Yeah, it's a question because really, their biggest win to me is Penn State, and Penn State kept it close, right? But Penn State, what does Penn State defensively do well? They have two good corners in the secondary, so their pass defense is much better than their rush defense, right? And I think that's what separated the Michigan win over Penn State. And Michigan put it on Penn State, but they ran the ball for like 400 yards or something like that, if I remember correctly. I don't have the stats in front of me, but Blake Corum and that backfield were running for days. So it's going to be an interesting matchup to see can Ohio State stop the run and make J.J. McCarthy and the Michigan offense really establish a true passing game and see if J.J. can throw it and beat somebody. And then from a Michigan defensive standpoint is, hey, can you stop the pass, keep everything underneath, make them sustain drives, and have to have a successful running game, which Ohio State hasn't shown much this year. So it's going to be an interesting game matchup for both of them. I'm interested, to see how it plays out.
Yeah, definitely. This is all playing out by itself. We can argue all we want, but at the end of the day, once you play the games, you got to play it and you got to win it. So let's take a look at this little top 25 teas we got going on.
One of the most difficult things to do is deal with success. Sometimes when you win, you lose respect for winning. But really what you lose respect for is what it takes to win.
You have to perform under great pressure repeatedly, and momentum's a very powerful thing.
Inside the 5, lunging for the pylon. Touchdown, Alabama. We go to next week, go.
Don't lose momentum. Say you're gonna hit me with a no-go. I'll butt a yes, why don't you try? See where it goes.
All right, so everybody knows the first round of the CFP rankings were released this past Tuesday evening, and AJ, who is on the Ranking Reactions show every Tuesday after the rankings are released with Fitz and Christine, make sure y'all tune in. You had something to say about the Vols being ranked number 1 over Georgia, and you got to be feeling good about it. So before you say anything else, can we take a quick listen to what AJ said?
I mean, I don't hate it, but I'm not in agreement with it.
Who would you have put at number 1?
I would leave Georgia there. Georgia was number 1 last week. They haven't been beaten.
If we started ranking the college football season right now, forget about the AP poll, you wouldn't have Tennessee at number 1.
No, I wouldn't.
You would have Georgia at number 1.
I would.
Well, there you have it. And quite frankly, AJ, I agree with you. And after today, how do you feel about that comment that you made on the show?
I told you so. That's all I got to say to Christine, Fitz, Drew, everybody else involved, fans that were tweeting at me. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, man.
All right, so now we're about to give AJ a chance to rank his top 6 teams in the CFP. So starting from number 6, who do you have ranked on the
6?
I'm going to do it on the touch screen. So you had number 6.
I got TCU at number 6.
Now, why TCU at number 6? They just won their game. A lot of people feel like they have the best resume in college football, but you still have them at your number 6 spot.
Yeah, I still, listen, they've fallen behind a couple weeks in a row. Even today, fell behind again. I understand they keep coming back, they keep winning, but I don't know if you want to be in that situation week in and week out. And for me, it's just a little questionable. And I still got to see how they finish out the year. They got a couple tough games coming up. So But I listen, I love their offense, and they're fun to watch.
All right, now moving on to number 5. Who do you have at the number 5 spot?
Number 5, and they're in a dogfight, but I got Bama.
Bama it is. Yeah, they did struggle a little bit today. And to see him play like that, Bryce Young struggling, it is a concern with this offense, but still at number 5, looking on the outside of the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they went out, they hold their own destiny, really and truly. They went out, you win the SEC championship, you're in. So you just got to take care of business, win each week, and can't have another slip up.
Yeah, one thing that you had on the ranking show where you 3 got at it was if Alabama wins the SEC championship, there's a slight possibility that Fitz and Christine still said that they might not make the CFP. What did you have to say to that?
Yeah, we're going to make everybody take a P test. We're testing everybody when they come back on Tuesday. So
oh, man.
We're going to check on them.
AJ's on one today. All right, now the CFP. Who are your top 4 teams in the country starting at number 4?
Number 4, I got Michigan. And the reason I got Michigan, Scoob, is, listen, their best win really and truly is Penn State. And they beat Penn State down by running the football. It's basically what they've done all year. And for me, I just haven't seen the passing game grow, J.J. McCarthy and the passing game grow enough to make me a firm believer in them and, solidifying that they're one of the top 4 teams. But listen, right now they're undefeated. Now they got a tough one coming up versus Ohio State. So it's gonna knock somebody out.
Now, before Ohio State, they have Illinois, and then they have Ohio State, because now you got 2 ranked matchups back-to-back. And as you mentioned, the thing about Michigan starting off the season, they had 3 of the easiest non-conference games in the country. So I don't know about Michigan at number 4. Me, I would rather have them push back a little bit, but I see what you did there. Moving on to number 3, who do you have at the 3rd spot?
I got Ohio State. And that was a tough one to really decide between Michigan and Ohio State for me, to be honest with you, because Ohio State struggled against Iowa a couple weeks ago, and then struggled really bad today against Northwestern. I understand the wind was a factor, and Coach Ryan Day said he had never seen weather like this before, but they ran the ball better today. The passing game, they got to find ways to get the ball out quick for C.J. Stroud and let the playmakers, because it seems like every pass play is a shot. And it showed today, if they play in bad weather, they're going to struggle on offense.
30-mile-per-hour winds was at that game. And then another thing that pops up on social media that people don't realize with Northwestern is their grass field.
Yeah.
Northwestern has this thing where their grass is a lot longer than most fields. And for a team like Ohio State, who has a lot of speed and skill players who like to, use their agility and quickness, in a bad weather game, in a long grass, it doesn't fare well, and that showed today.
That's the old Notre Dame mindset when they used to play USC. Let the grass grow.
Let the grass go. All right, we're down to the top 2 teams in the country. Who do you have at the 2nd spot, AJ?
Even though they took the loss today, I still think Tennessee.
They still have your respect.
Yes, I still think Tennessee is the number 2 team in the country, even just strictly from the eye test, right? Now, they got beat down by Georgia today.
Real good.
Yes. And the score made it seem like it was closer, but they had a measly touchdown towards the end against Georgia. But right now, Tennessee is, from the eye test, is better than the other teams I have up here on the board.
Yeah, Tennessee did struggle today. Hendon Hooker was sacked a career-high 6 times in this game. And one of the things coming into this game was, will Georgia be able to pressure the quarterback? Well, yes, they did. And they pressured him on 50% of his passes, which was something a lot of people didn't see coming into the game, especially when Georgia loses their top pass rusher coming into the game. All right, so at the number 1 spot, I think it's pretty obvious who you have there.
Georgia Bulldogs. It's the team I've said that I think is the best team in the country all year long. everybody wants to point to, the close game versus Missouri at Missouri. And I've played there. I'm telling you and telling the viewers that is a tough place to play. For whatever reason, I don't know. And it's hard to win week in and week out, right? But if you have a slip up, you want to come away with the win. They did that. But today, they absolutely dominated from start to finish. Stetson Bennett and their Georgia passing game was back to what it seemed it was, taking the step from last year to the beginning of this year. And they absolutely controlled all 60 minutes of this game today versus Tennessee. And I think they're the most dangerous team in college football.
Yeah, Georgia reclaimed that spot in a dominant way today. And I love to see it, quite frankly, because as I said before we started this segment, I agreed with you. I think Georgia is the #1 team in the country, and to take them off of that top spot, why? What did they do? Why? They got to stay there.
Why, Craig?
But Alabama, your team, was in a dogfight. And another question mark for the CFP ranking was, why is LSU at number 10? Today, we found out why they were at number 10.
You created this atmosphere. They have no idea what they're getting into. Go get it.
Death Valley is rising.
An upset in Baton Rouge. The Rebels are undefeated no more.
Control our own destiny in Death Valley. What more can you ask for?
Now, Bryce Young and rival Bama come rolling in to silence college football's most deafening atmosphere.
Touchdown, the magic of Bryce Young.
We know the challenges. We all are locked in one goal.
Tonight, one rises to the top of the SEC West.
The game has always had significance.
In a matchup built on so many games of the century.
LSU wins. I can tell you for sure now. He's going to go. Yes! Epic comeback.
Death Valley is rising. Hit the lights. Check the Richter scale. Bama, LSU, Saturday night prime time. Let's go.
All right, let's get to the game. Alabama, LSU, first quarter. We got Bryce Young doing his thing with the game scoreless. In the red zone, Alabama drives. Bryce Young doing a little bit too much here.
Can't do it.
This is how it started, AJ. Just not comfortable in the pocket. You saw it all in the game. The second quarter, this is 2nd and 15. Jaden Daniels gets it quickly to John Emery Jr., who turns it up the field and makes a nice move into the end zone for 6.
Nobody peeled. If you're blitzing, somebody has to peel with a halfback. Nobody peeled.
Big smile for Daniels there. Third quarter, LSU trailing 9-7. Josh Williams says, give me the rock. Muscles his way into the end zone. LSU in front 14-9. Fourth quarter, Roydell Williams says, let me answer back. After scoring here, they will go for 2, come up empty. After an LSU field goal, Alabama trails by 2. Young doing his Houdini act. What a play he made here, AJ.
What a play.
Oh, my Lord.
I thought he was sacked multiple times. Could have been another Heisman moment for Bryce, but it was a tough night. That was one of the few highlights we had.
Finds Brooks there, so less than 2 minutes remaining in the fourth. Jaden Daniels, what a pass here. This is a corner route on cover 2. How did he hit that?
Scoob, I don't know. I don't understand how we can complete a corner versus cover 2.
We're in overtime. Jaden Daniels, this is their first play. Takes it in for 6. They decide to go for 2 when they're down by 1. That's game. LSU wins 32-31. There were 8 lead changes in the second half and OT. This is a huge game. Brian Kelly, first year at the helm, gets the dub against Alabama, something that a lot of SEC coaches can't even say. But he did it here. And the committee right now, they're probably sitting high and mighty like, oh, y'all thought LSU wasn't the 10th ranked team in the country? I guess they are, because they just beat the 6. What are your first initial thoughts, especially getting this win and having an opportunity to make the CFP?
Yeah, I don't see them making it. They got a long road for that to happen. But listen, they beat the number 6 team in the country tonight. Bama just for some reason cannot find a way to get out of their own way. And but hats off to LSU. Brian Kelly, it was a great win for them.
All right, well, I wish we could talk more because there's so much to talk about this game, but that's all we have for y'all tonight on the wrap-up presented by Allstate. That's AJ McCarron. Are you feeling salty?
I'm pissed.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you for watching. Peace.
Oh, God.